Hey everybody, it's Paul.
And Steve.
And we are back to discuss it all. Now, before we get started with today's topic, I wanted to let you guys know that we have almost 250 subscribers as of the time we're filming this video. So we are halfway to 500. Now, if and when this channel gets to 500 subscribers, we'll do a question and answer video. So if you have any questions that you would like us to answer, please leave those in the comments down below. Also, at some point in this video, if you're enjoying yourself, hit the thumbs up button, or if you're not enjoying yourself, hit the thumbs down button, and leave a comment, tell us why.
That's right, please.
And if you enjoy this video, please hit the share button. That really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm and helps YouTube let other people know that we are doing what we're doing. Helps us out more than we can tell you, and we sure do appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, today, what's topic?
Oh, we got a great topic. So, as you know, Paul and I love movies,
yes.
And we also like sports. And so we decided that we would give we'd talk about our top 5 sports movies.
Oh,
and there are so many to choose from.
Yeah.
But what are our top 5 sports movies? And it could be kind of the criteria were, a movie and something about sports. It could be any sport. It could be individual sport. It could be team sport. It could be Olympic sport. It could be any sport. And what are the things that drew us to that movie, and the movie that we're going to go back and we're going to watch over and over again.
Okay.
So our top 5 sports movies.
All right.
And I'll start with this one.
That sounds good.
And this is in no particular order. Yep. This is just our top 5. So I'm going to go my number or my first sports movie is Moneyball. Moneyball is the story of Billy Beane and the Oakland Athletics, based on a true story, and the use of data analytics in trying to put together a baseball team. Now, this is kind of old hat. Now everybody's doing it, but it was novel. It was brand new. This idea that you really could craft just from data and not just eyeballs, right? Because for baseball, scouting was always done, and some places still is done, just with the eyeball. So you trust the person who's watching, and but once data has gotten involved, now it's made it into a different game. And so it was a great movie, great acting. Based on the book that was based on Billy Beane's true story, and just a fabulous movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie as well, and I'm glad that you picked that, because if you hadn't, I would have.
Yeah.
Yes, all the acting in it was great, but I really liked it because it kind of revealed a game within a game.
Yeah, right.
Because there is that game that the front office is playing, certainly in baseball, because there's so much data available.
Yeah.
And you can kind of build that team that way. It's funny because I try and do the same thing with like the PlayStation games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody does, because there's like internet forums devoted to it.
That's right.
And everything.
Yeah.
But I really like that movie, and you're right. At the time, it was a very novel approach. Now you couldn't do the same thing because everybody's looking for that exact thing. So you have to figure out what's the next thing. What's the next data point that you can exploit.
Yeah,
because that's really what it was about. It was about exploiting an inefficiency in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. And the character, and his name has completely slipped me now, that played the MIT grad who was kind of the one who brought this to Billy Beane's attention and brought this to bear on him, was just great. And everything about that character, both the writing and the acting, was just phenomenal.
Yeah, the actor was Jonah Hill, and I cannot.
Jonah Hill.
I can't think of the actual real life person's name right now, but I knew his name.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So I'm with you. I love that movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, my movie. This is one that I've seen with Shannon. It's one of our favorite movies of all time, and it's a sports movie. Bear with me. It's called The Cutting Edge.
Oh, right.
So this is a movie. It's a romantic a romantic drama, dramedy. It has some elements of comedy in it.
Yeah.
An Olympic hopeful hockey player ends up going to the Olympics, getting injured. So his hockey career ends up being over, and he reinvents himself gets reinvented, kind of drug along kicking and screaming as a couple's figure skating. Person. And to me, Shannon has always liked figure skating, the women's figure skating as well as the couples. I've watched it with her. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's a very I appreciate the discipline that it takes to get to that level. I mean, anybody who can dance on a blade on ice while going as fast as they do has my utmost respect. But for me, at least, that kind of made that movie fun and accessible. At the time when it came out, and Shannon and I gotta slow down. Shannon and I have really enjoyed watching that movie, and it's one that we watch over and over again.
Yeah.
Whenever that comes up on one of the streaming services, we're like, let's watch that.
It's a really good movie.
So it's just a fun movie. Kind of really does show you some of the work that goes into ice skating.
Yeah.
Probably not nearly enough. Probably to make it seem way too easy.
Sure, that really is.
Because everything gets, from practicing to really, really good in that 90-second montage.
Right. Yeah.
But it's just a fun, enjoyable movie. For me,
Good.
It kind of centers around a sport that really doesn't get a whole lot of credit.
It really doesn't. And the amount of work that has to go into that. Well, I'm going to stick with ice skating then.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Miracle on Ice.
Okay. All right, Miracle.
And, I remember in sitting in my living room during that game. It was the semifinal game between the United States and the Soviet Union for who was going to play. I think it was Sweden next or Finland, one of them. And just that sense of patriotism. I remember my parents being in the room. I was 10 or so years old, or however old I was, I guess 10, and just remembering, the sense of patriotism, the way that my parents reacted to it at the time, and then the event itself, and then over time for that to grow in my own memory. The movie it brought all of that back. And so it was more than just that it was a great movie and a great story. I love the story, this overcomer, the underdog overcoming. It's such a great story, but it was a great movie.
Yeah, it is a great movie, and I'm really glad that got made because I was aware of the event. I was a bit young when that happened, and I just wasn't interested in hockey at all when that took place. So it was nice to kind of vicariously,
look back
and kind of recreate the excitement of that event.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that movie as well, and I think that's a great thing about sports movies or about movies in general that do kind of recreate those moments in history for those of us who either missed it or just weren't around.
Absolutely.
For it.
Absolutely.
So
good.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this: do you think with professional athletes going to the Olympics more and more in the team sports like hockey and basketball and stuff, I feel like that has kind of diminished those moments?
No, I think it has. I feel the same way. You're never going to have another Miracle on Ice moment again because the East Germans and the Soviets were always sending professional athletes, and so you had the amateurs against the pros. And when you won, it really meant something. Now, what good is it really? You send a dream team in and. We only won by 70, so it was a lot closer. We had a chance,
Yeah. Okay. All right, but Miracle was a great movie.
Yeah.
So my next one, I'm going to go back to baseball now.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick Bull Durham.
Bull Durham, great choice.
Yeah.
Great choice.
So a lot about baseball, but also just a good drama.
Oh, without a doubt.
About a lot of life. Kevin Costner is. To me, he's probably the best sports actor there is.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's kind of made a career out of doing sports movies.
Absolutely.
So that movie is just a lot of fun. It has what is now an ensemble cast. Kevin Costner, Susan Sarandon, Tim Robbins. Just a lot of fun. Even a lot of the bit characters in it. And it's funny because when that movie came out, I was living in Baltimore. I had no idea that there was actually a place. Durham, Carolina,
right down the road,
Durham, Carolina, where they,
have the Durham
where
Bulls.
the Bulls played, and actually that's like what the stadium kind of looked like.
Right. Yeah.
If you hit the cow in the outfield, you get steak.
That's right. Yes.
So it just kind of captured the fun of like minor league baseball, and and a little bit of the trials of trying to make that next step.
Yeah, sure.
And I also like the idea of Kevin Costner being kind of brought in to mentor that young player along, give him a little bit of maturity and kind of shepherd him along so he could get to the pros. And then for me, one of the great payoff scenes in the movie was when he makes the pros and he's doing the interview and he's just spouting off the one-liners that Kevin Costner is
One
doing.
after the other.
One
That's
after the
right.
other. And it's funny, 'cause like to this day, you still hear the same things.
Yep, that's
coming
it.
out of these people's.
That's it. Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
All about tradition in baseball. That's good. That's good. All right, so I'm going to stick with baseball as well. In fact, a lot of my movies are going to be baseball. So I'm going to go next with The Natural.
Ooh.
Robert Redford.
Yeah.
The Natural. Again, it's a movie that the first time I saw it when I was younger, I don't know it really stood out to me. The one thing that stood out was, of course, the home run hitting the lights and raining down on him as he rounds the bases. But the more I've watched that movie, the more I've seen what a good movie it really is.
Yeah.
And Robert Redford, of course, is amazing. But the drama in that movie around baseball just to me really draws me back to it over and over again. It's one of those when it's on TNT, I'm probably going to be watching it.
Yeah, that is a great movie. Now, funny story. I had to read The Natural,
Oh, yeah.
the book,
Right.
Between 8th grade and 9th grade on summer reading. That was an assigned thing, and I kind of blew the assignment.
Yeah.
I think I'm like, well, I've seen the movie,
That's right.
and if you have summer reading, the book is a lot different than the movie.
It is. You wouldn't even know they're talking about the same story.
You would not.
Yeah, that's right.
So they took a lot of liberties with the movie, and I think they made a much more enjoyable story.
Yeah, sure.
Because I found the movie tremendously much more enjoyable than the book,
Yeah.
which is odd for me.
Yeah.
But it is a great. It's not only a great movie, but it is a great story. And I'm with you. I agree. There was so much drama not on the baseball
Right.
diamond, but being played around the clubhouse
Yeah.
and just with the organization
Yep.
and what was going on behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
And to me, that kind of weaves that rich tapestry, which makes things so much more interesting.
That's right. You have love, you have betrayal, you have redemption, failure. I mean, all of that comes together, and you kind of run the almost the elements of epic, right? Where you hit all of these emotions in a movie. So yeah. Okay.
All right, my next one is going to be from a series of movies, one of the most successful movie franchises, I think, of all time. And that's going to be the Rocky franchise. But I'm going to go with Rocky 3
Oh yeah.
as my favorite. Yeah, so to me, that was kind of the high watermark of the Rocky franchise.
Okay.
Quick backstory. I never saw any of the Rocky movies in the theater until Rocky 5.
Oh right.
Which is arguably one of the worst.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed
Sorry
that.
you started there.
Yeah, but I had watched them at friends' houses that had like HBO, or we got them on VHS or something when they came out.
Yep.
So I didn't actually see Rocky 3 until I was much older, probably 25 or 30 years old.
Okay.
And I saw Rocky. I saw Rocky 2. Rocky 3 to me just resonated with me a lot more than anything, because I love the idea of him. He now is the champ, and he's kind of struggling to stay on top. And now there's the new challenger that's hungry, and he now has to learn how to fight a different way.
Yeah.
You can't just go in there and swing, and I really like that. And plus, he's actually afraid. He's having to deal with the fear because he was fearless in Rocky. And in Rocky 2.
Yeah.
It was really just about him outlasting Apollo.
That's right.
But in Rocky 3, he has to find a different way to win because, this new guy, Mr. T, is younger and faster and stronger.
Yeah.
So for me, I just kind of hit on all cylinders. I love that movie.
No, great movie. Great. All the Rocky movies. At least the first 3 and a half. Four has some elements to it. But the 3 is... Really, it has to be almost the culmination of the Rocky franchise, because it really does hit, what Rocky is meant to be about, and that is the person who should not win, winning,
finding a way to win.
Yeah, and so that's a great pick, and the Eye of the Tiger. I mean, come on, what great music.
#1 song. For many weeks.
For many weeks. So, all right, so I'll go with my next movie.
Okay.
And again, so many of them have to do with baseball. And I wonder, any idea why so many baseball movies are good, Paul? As compared to, you have some football movies, A Longest Yard or something, but some that are good. But for the most part, baseball movies just, they seem to be easy to make, maybe.
I think it's because the drama on the field, when you condense that down into into an hour and 45 minutes to 2.5 hour movie. And because usually it's not just one baseball game, unless you're talking about the perfect game, which is one game.
Yeah.
You know, but you're able to tell the drama of a whole season in, you know, in an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay.
And it really is compelling. And I mean, of course, baseball for a long time was America's game.
Yeah, right.
Football arguably may have replaced it as far as viewership goes. But I think it's just kind of woven into our fabric of our being.
Yeah.
And it is really a it's a strategic game because it happens over a very long period of time. And there's just moments of excitement.
Right.
But it's much more like watching a chess match than it is like the explosive nature of football or the constant motion of basketball or hockey.
Or hockey, yeah. And I think also with baseball, every player has to do everything.
That's true.
So you got to hit, you got to play, you got to throw, you got to run, you got to catch, you got to do everything. Even if it's not the same position, the elements of the game. You know, in football, if you're going to block, you just block, or you tackle, you just tackle. So.
Yeah, it's much more about specialization. You're right.
All right, so we'll stick with baseball for another one.
Okay.
In fact, for probably my last. How many more do I have?
I think we've each got 2 more.
We've each got 2 more. So I'm going to go with the original Bad News Bears.
Okay.
I can go with the remake of the Bad News Bears as well, but the original Bad News Bears, not them going to Tokyo or anything, but with Walter Matthau, and it's even though it's a movie about a drunk and kids, it really is a movie about baseball and about how baseball can raise these children up and this drunk and kind of be the means to their redemption.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It is now. I mean, of course, Walter Matthau exaggerated the character, but at least for me, growing up in Baltimore, it was not uncommon at all for the coach to have a cooler full of beer right there during practice, during the game.
That's right, absolutely.
I mean, of course, we all got snow cones afterwards, but I mean, the parents, everybody.
That's right. Yeah, he would have a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and a beer in the dugout.
Yeah. So I mean, when that movie was made in the late '70s or early '80s, that they were just taking what was normal and exaggerating just a little bit.
Yeah, not much.
Not much. I mean, of course, nowadays we'd all be horrified.
That's exactly right. Well, and having a girl on the team just makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, that's a great movie. It's funny. I didn't even. There's so many great sports movies. I didn't think of that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as baseball goes, a lot on my list are baseball as well. But I'm gonna. Let's see. So I'm gonna go to football.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick a movie that I really enjoyed when I first saw it, and I still enjoy it to this day, and that's The Blind Side.
Oh yeah.
Football probably is the game that I like the most. I like the intensity of it. I like the challenge of it. I like that the games mean so much because there's so few of them. And I really just love the story of that kid coming from those circumstances and. And work. Of course, he had to work very hard to overcome them as well.
Yeah.
But he also got help from that family.
That's right.
I guess now that I think about it, I guess that's much more of a drama movie with an element of sports in it.
Yeah. Well, and
now that I think about it.
Yeah, and it really is. But it shows how sports becomes a means to an end for him.
True.
But not just sports alone. The family, the school. His coaches.
Yeah, and he kind of found like his place in life at that time through that.
That's right.
And I think for me it was just a very uplifting movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. Really put football in a very good light.
Yeah.
As opposed to of course there's all the injuries and stuff.
That's right.
That we deal with now. So.
And The Blind Side is on any favorite sports list for me for a number of reasons. One, I happen to be an Ole Miss football fan and grew up an Ole Miss fan. So, there's that connection as well. If you're an Ole Miss fan out there, hotty toddy, but it is everything. I think that movie and even the story that it's telling, the true story it's telling, is just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you're from Alabama, right?
So I grew up in Mississippi, but I moved to Alabama in high school.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I was going to say, isn't Mississippi and Alabama rivals?
They're just, but they're kind of the same state. I mean, they're just like right there together.
Okay.
Yeah. So I grew up in Mississippi.
Okay.
And then went to high school in Alabama.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
So great,
all right.
Great movie. Okay.
So that's gonna be my number 2. So we got one more each.
That's right. So one more each, and there are a lot to choose from. some of the honorable mentions that could have gotten it. Kevin Costner in Tin Cup, for example, just great.
I have that.
Chariots of Fire. I mean, just some great, and probably not in my top 5, but some excellent movies. So I'm going to go. My final one then is going to be The Rookie.
Okay.
As a baseball person, kind of growing up and loving baseball, what baseball player doesn't, when they're older, think, boy, if I just had that one shot again, if I could just get on the mound, if I could get in the box, if I could do this one more time. And everybody loves that story. The fact it's a true story makes it even better. But the Rookie is you have the heartbreak with the bad parent situation, the bad dad situation, having to overcome that, and all of us knew those kids whose dads were like the dad in the movie, and to see that even he finds some solace in all of this and reconciliation. It's all good. So The Rookie will round out my list.
Yeah, The Rookie is a great baseball movie. It's just an all-around great movie.
Yeah.
I love it. I always well up when he gets to make the call home and say he made the team. Yeah. Just the way he does it is great. Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, you got the Disney Channel. You can watch it.
Right. That's exactly.
In fact, I watched it just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The Rookie really is a great story about like you just said, having that one extra shot. I had that thought that, if I had done things a little bit differently, I could have been in the NFL.
Right.
I'm glad I didn't get the chance to go try that.
Goodness gracious.
Put that to the test, because those guys hit pretty hard.
They do.
So that's your number one. Let's see. I want to pick a good one here. We've got a list we didn't duplicate.
I know.
Okay. I think I'm going to go back to boxing.
Okay.
And again, this is just a great drama movie, but there's a lot of boxing in it. That's going to be Cinderella Man.
Oh, yeah.
With Russell Crowe. It was about a boxer. I think his name was James Braddock. And I love the story because it really shows the arc of him being on top of the world and then going through not only a personal depression, but in fact the Great Depression.
Yeah.
And being out of work and having to reinvent himself, and just the struggle that he goes through in order to keep his family together.
Yeah.
And and then he ends up getting the shot again. And then that just turns into one thing after another, and then he's kind of in the Rocky situation where he's got the shot against the heavyweight.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I didn't have that on my list, but what a great movie.
It really is. Again, just because it's a great drama, and it's funny because as much as we love sport, it's like it's got to be a good story.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's so many movies that didn't make the list that I'm sure that you thought of, that I thought of, like Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
In fact, I wrote down, this is what I was doing when I was writing something down, I wrote down the number 4 on here. That was my over or under for Kevin Costner movies.
Yeah, that's.
And I think we only had 2.
Only had 2. We could have had more.
We could have had.
We could have had Tin Cup and Field of Dreams right there.
Dreams would have done it.
Yeah, that would have gotten us there.
Yeah. So those were our top 5 movies, and boy, it was tough to narrow those down.
It was.
So what didn't we put on the list that should have been there? Please leave a comment down below. Let us know. And like I said earlier, leave the video a thumbs up, hit the share button. That would really help us out. And leave those questions for us, and we get to 500 subscribers. We'll answer them.
We'll answer them. That's right. And any suggestions you have of things you'd like for us to talk about, topics you'd like for us to consider, we'd love to hear those, and they'll show up in a future episode.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.